I'm in my front yard, foraging for food. Pine tree behind me. Not sure what this is. Can I eat it? I'm not sure what this is called either. Can I eat it? There's another one, little one. I know what this is though. Pretty sure I know what this is. What do we got here? See the purple? God give us food. Get the pine needle out of there. A little bit. Purslane. What are you doing, Adam? You're eating weeds. You crazy? Another one. Lemony. Delicious. Here's some more. Very juicy. I want to read from a PDF file found online yesterday. Purslane Portulaca oleracea L is a common weed that grows all over the world and is one of the most widespread weed species in summer crops. However, it has great potential to become a new crop since its identification as one of the best plant sources of omega-3 fatty acid, alpha-linolenic acid, as well as some antioxidants, alpha-tocopherol, beta-carotene, ascorbic acid, and glutathione. Several other features distinguish this species: high content of crude protein, water-soluble polysaccharides useful as gums, and good tolerance to salinity. This review summarizes purslane's origin, botanical and physiological features, while its nutritional and medical properties are reported in reference to several studies carried out on its chemical properties. Finally, its cultivation potential is discussed and future uses are proposed for this species, mainly as a component to ready-to-use vegetables, but also for other cultivation purposes. Purslane is a weed commonly found on all continents. It has an enormous potential for infestation, mainly due to the large number of seeds produced per plant. Up to 500 seeds of kilogram to the negative first of soil were found, but severe infestations depend largely on the amount of frequency of rainfall in summer. In addition, it has a particular ability to reroot after cultivation or hoeing. Because the fleshy stems remain moist and viable for several days, and have a great potential to form roots. It forms a dense mat covering the soil and preventing the emergence of other seedlings. Its aggressive and prostrate growth has suggested that purslane can be used as a living mulch, intercropped with a row crop. For example, broccoli, whose yield was not reduced when compared to conventional methods of weed control, such as black plastic mulch, mechanical, or chemical control. Purslane has received renowned interest since the identification of some of its nutritional and medicinal properties, so much so that it has been described as a power food of the future, which is funny because it's not new. The botanical name Portulaca oleracea L, belonging to the Portulacaceae family. 7 subspecies belong to this species, but the subspecies oleracea and sativa are the most common. P. grandiflora is also widespread as a flower species. The Latin name seems to have 2 meanings. A. Little door, deriving from Latin portula, because of the way its capsules open, and B. porto, which means carry, plus lac, which means milk, referring to the succulent consistency of stems and leaves. In the Middle Ages, the Arabs called it bakla hamka, which means mad or crazy vegetable, because its branches spread over the ground without control. Purslane seems to have an Asian origin. Iran, India, Russian, and southern regions. Nuez and Hernandez Bermejo, 1994. De Condale, 1884, supposed that it was cultivated more than 4,000 years ago. In ancient Egypt, it was already used as a medicinal plant. There is evidence of its cultivation in Arabia and in the Mediterranean basin since the Middle Ages. The species has a cosmopolitan distribution, but it is more present in the Mediterranean area, mainly in the arid and semi-arid lands of northern Africa and southern Europe. In addition, in Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Yemen. It's largely cultivated and available in many vegetable shops and used as salad. In the USA, purslane is considered a minor crop because of its use in ethnic cooking. Wild purslane was sold by street vendors in southern Italy during the 1950s and 60s. Purslane is a summer herbaceous plant and branched, decumbent, fairly ascending stems. It has a protein level of up to 22 to 25%. So y'all that say that you only get your protein from meat, 25% protein in purslane. What's up with that? Comparable to other forage or vegetable food crops traditionally used as protein sources, it also suggests an alternative use of purslane for both animal and human consumption. However, symptoms such as weakness, diarrhea, colic, and hepatonephropathy, probably due to the high content of free oxalate or the presence of anthraquinone and coumarin, whatever that is, may be associated with daily and abundant doses of purslane as fodder. Those symptoms have not been reported for the Sudanese people who consume purslane as a common vegetable dish. High in protein, extremely high in omega-3 fatty acids, high in vitamin A, tons of vitamins. I mean, this weed that just grows everywhere, that God gave us to enjoy, is wild. Let's find another. Purslane. Hold on a second. Purslane. I mean, this thing just pops up everywhere, and we spray it with like weed killer. A lot of people, they don't know. It's low in calories. I mean, this stuff is a superfood. It relaxes the blood vessels. It helps in weight loss. Helps in child development. It prevents ADHD. Treats gastrointestinal diseases. It helps with skin care. It prevents cancer. Lowers bad cholesterol levels. Helps prevent lung and oral cancers. It can be used to treat eczema topically. It can be used to treat swelling of the genitals, whatever. I mean, people have that problem, I guess, sometimes. It's supposed to help to calm down the male hormones, like not like horniness. So like you can think straight around women if you're a teenager or whatever, and you just don't always make the right decisions because the women. It improves circulation of your blood flow. It's used to treat if you have a mouth sore, just chewing on it like a gum, and then eating it because it's awesome. It can be very good. It's freaking incredible, and it's growing in my front yard like randomly. It's growing in your front yard too, and your backyard, and your neighbor's yard, everyone's yard. I removed 60 pounds of it yesterday from someone's property. They didn't want it. I told them about the amazing benefits. They're like, "No, I'm not going to eat it." I ate it right in front of him. I was like, it's totally safe. Chomped it. Chomped it in front of you guys, too. So, Purslane is what it's called. I mentioned in another video, I was like, Persim. I couldn't remember the last part. It's Purslane. Purslane. And, I want to share with you a little quick story, too. I found this on my friend Linda's Instagram page, @VegCompassion. Thank you, Linda, for sharing this, and I'm going to share it with everybody. God said, Frank, you know all about the gardens and nature. What in the world is going on down there on the planet? What happened to the dandelions, violets, milkweeds, and stuff I started eons ago? I had a perfect non-maintenance garden plan. Those plants grow in any type of soil, withstand drought, and multiply with abandon. The nectar from the long-lasting blossoms attract butterflies, honeybees, and flocks of songbirds. I expected to see a vast garden of colors by now. But all I see are these green rectangles. St. Francis replies, It's the tribes that settled there, Lord, the suburbanites. They started calling your flowers weeds and went to great lengths to kill them and replace them with grass. God responds, Grass? But it's so boring. It's not colorful. It doesn't attract butterflies, birds, and bees, only grubs and sodworms. It's sensitive to temperatures. Do these suburbanites really want all that grass growing there? St. Francis says, Apparently so, Lord. They go to great pains to grow it and keep it green. They begin each spring by fertilizing grass and poisoning any other plant that crops up in the lawn. God, the spring rains and warm weather probably make the grass grow really fast. That must make the suburbanites happy. St. Francis, apparently not. Sometimes twice a week. God responds, They cut it? Do they then bale it like hay? St. Francis, Not exactly, Lord. Most of them rake it up and put it in bags. God, they bag it. Why? Is it a cash crop? Do they sell it? St. Francis, No, sir, just the opposite. They pay to throw it away. God, now let me get this straight. They fertilize grass so it will grow, and when it grows, they cut it off and pay it to throw it away? St. Francis, Yes, sir, God. Yes, sir. God responds, These suburbanites must be relieved in the summer when we cut back on the rain and turn up the heat. That surely slows the growth and saves them a lot of work. St. Francis, You aren't going to believe this, Lord. When the grass stops growing so fast, they drag out hoses and pay more money to water it, so they can continue to mow it and pay to get rid of it. God, what nonsense. At least they kept some of the trees. That was a sheer stroke of genius, if I do say so myself. The trees grow leaves in the summer to provide beauty and shade in the summer. Or in the spring to provide beauty and shade in the summer. Sorry, I'm butchering this. In the autumn, they fall to the ground and form a natural blanket to keep moisture in the soil and protect the trees and bushes. It's a natural cycle of life. St. Francis, You better sit down, Lord. The suburbanites have drawn a new circle. As soon as the leaves fall, they rake them into great piles and pay to have them hauled away. God, No! What do they do to protect the shrub and tree roots in the winter to keep the soil moist and loose? St. Francis, After throwing away the leaves, they go out and buy something which they call mulch. They haul it home and spread it around in place of the leaves. God, And where do they get this mulch? St. Francis, Oh, they cut down trees and grind them up to make the mulch. God, Enough! I don't want to think about this anymore. St. Catherine, You're in charge of the arts. What movie have you scheduled for us tonight? St. Catherine, Dumb and Dumber, Lord. It's a story about God. It's a story about... And then God responds, Never mind. I think I just heard this whole story from St. Francis. Alright, I totally butchered that. If you have an Instagram account, go follow @VegCompassion. She's awesome. Her name's Linda. She's very, very wise, and you can learn a lot from her. And, take pictures, look up the weeds in your yard. I got weeds I need to learn more about. Yesterday on the job site, I recognized it, and without looking it up on my phone, I just grabbed it and ate it. I was pretty sure it was it, And then I was like, oh, I hope that was. And then my worker that was helping me, he ate some too. He ate some Taco Bell also earlier that day. And within about 5 minutes, he's like, oh, I don't feel so good after he ate the Purslane. He's like, something's going on. And he forgot that he had eaten the Purslane. He was blaming the Taco Bell. And I felt fine. I felt good. I liked it within 5 minutes, like right away. Tasted good, made me feel good. But he wasn't feeling so good. And he's like, I have to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to tell you the rest of the story because you probably wouldn't like that. But long story short, he felt a lot better about 15 minutes later. And he said he felt like $1 million. I said I felt like $1 million. And $1 million. Sorry for the terrible analogy, but language is still developing here. We felt really, 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 really good. And it cleaned us out. It cleaned him out. I didn't need cleaning out because I have a pretty, I think, apparently according to Purslane, I have a pretty good diet and already, but it's awesome. It's free. God gave it to you. Daniel Pratt just talked about this, how you got currency. God gives us so many gifts, and we just spray them with weed killer. Don't do that. It's not weeds. Separate the wheat from the chaff. They're not what you think they are. You need to do a little more research. Peace, y'all.